Music festivals. They've become a staple of Gen Z culture. From the massive stages in the middle of the dusty fields to urban block parties that transform city streets, the range of experiences is almost endless. But beyond the typical festival lies a whole different world. Exclusivity, elevated events designed for those who want something bigger, better, and often much pricier. That is where EdSea comes in. A music festival set on a cruise ship, blending luxury travel with nonstop music and unforgettable experiences. It's an idea that sounds too good to be true. Well, I spent $6,000 to find out, and this is my deep dive into EdSea. What it's like, whether it lives up to the hype, and most importantly, if it's worth that hefty price tag. Okay, so we are back. It has been over a week. The cruise was 4 days, but I went to Denver, Colorado immediately after the cruise, not knowing that there was the largest snowstorm they've received in November in 30 years. I think it is fair that we discuss everything about this cruise, from the experience itself to the price that they that I landed at the very end, as well as what it's looking like for 2025, because they already announced 2025 and it'll go on sale before this video even comes out.
Oh my god, bro. Oh hell no, man. What the
But I think it's fair that I give you guys a good overview of this cruise, the cost, the experience, and everything in between. This was very expensive, and the total can be a little shocking, but I will also give the heads up that I paid for 2 people more rather than just one. I paid for both mine and my fiance's tickets for this cruise. It all started on day 1. We got up early on that Saturday.
Bienvenidos, guys. We're here in sunny Miami. God. So the cruise takes off in, I think we have to be at the check-in place in like 2 hours. So a little nervous. It was rainy. We went and got coffee, and it wasn't great weather. We're already a key investor in this $6,000 experience, so I don't think we have a choice to decide how the weather's going to be, but we're going to have fun. We're going to have a good time. I'll see y'all when we're on the ship. When I have my sea legs.
I thought I was having a big brain moment here, and I thought the best thing I could do was make sure we were the first ones on that cabin. So I booked our check-in time at 12 to 12:30. However, what they failed to mention in the check-in process is that you can't get on the ship until 2. Oh! But that doesn't matter, because Taylor and I showed up at the terminal right at 12 with the lines already bananas long. People had a check-in time of 2 p.m. and they still showed up at 12:30. So we get to the check-in counter somewhere around 12:30. Luckily, they had these like cool DJs that they had the speaker on their backpack. It was pretty cool. They were fun. They were hyping everyone up. Everyone's like, "Oh yeah, first set of the trip." However, when it got to the time to actually board, they gave us these boarding tickets, and they had the quietest intercom system. And in any other cruise terminal, I'd imagine it gets the job done. It does not get the job done when you have 2 dudes blaring music. It was comical. No one knew what boarding group was boarding because you could not hear them. It was so quiet. It was so quiet. I get the enthusiasm to have DJs playing music before you get on the ship. Get everyone in the party mindset. it really messed up the process. Like, it messed it up so badly. We finally get on the ship around 2:30. Taylor and I just kind of walked around the ship. We got to see the main area, the stage that was in the lobby area, walked around a little bit, and we enjoy a buffet, a lovely mid buffet. Let me just say something about the buffet. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. But I can't stop thinking about the cost, and it felt so bare bones for the cost. I know there's nicer restaurants. You got to pay for those. It felt so mid. So we get in our rooms. It looks great. Awesome. We got our luggage. Everything's cool. And then I read this piece of paper. I don't think I screenshotted it, but I'll put a Reddit post here because multiple people mentioned it later. Any alcoholic beverage that I purchased that I would get after I already spent $1,000, any alcoholic beverage would be subject to sales tax because we were still in Miami, technically, and they would charge us that sales tax until we were 9 miles outside of Miami. Taylor and I were like, what okay, it's not going to be a lot, which, you know, in hindsight, it wasn't. It was not a lot of money per drink. It literally cents on the dollar per drink, but still, like, you pay a lot to expect to pay nothing. So day one, the music was great. We had all these lovely experiences. Taylor and I stay at the main stage most of the night, partying, hee hee ha ha. And this is where I realized the big draw of the festival is that there is really not a lot of dense crowds. When you go to any sort of music festival, I feel like you're crammed in like a little sardine. At this festival, nearly every artist that we saw, there were a lot of people, but everyone just gave everyone space. Taylor and I were able to go into the main crowd, get pretty close in, leave if we needed to go to the bathroom, leave if we needed to go get drinks, and walk back to the exact same spot. Not a problem. There is a lot of people, but it felt like everyone on this ship gave people space. So that was a really massive breath of fresh air. Taylor and I went and saw some great acts. We mostly stayed at the main stage and we went to bed just because the set times for this festival, I kid you guys not, they go from 4 p.m. to 7 a.m. 4 nights in a row. So on the first night, Slander was doing a techno set called Before Dawn, and their set time was 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. What did Harry do? We went to bed at 3. I set my alarm for 6:30. I woke my ass up at 6:30, sprinted to the other side of the ship, and I got to watch 30 minutes of the techno set. So day 2, we get to Bimini. If you don't know, Bimini, it's only 50, 60 miles outside of Miami. The cruise ship got there overnight and we were already parked. So let me lay out a bit of like how it worked in Bimini. The festival wasn't down here on the ship. The festival was up here at this resort. The original plan was between like 3 p.m. and 4 a.m., 3 a.m. The festival would be at the beach club. The sets continued on the ship from 5:30 afterwards. So that was the original plan. For the most part, day 2, relatively uneventful. Around like 5, 6-ish, we said, okay, let's go to the beach club. One thing to heavily note about the beach club, it is not owned by Norwegian. Big caveat of that was the bars at Resorts World were not a part of the drink package. I spent $1,000 on a drink package where on day one, I would get taxed for any drink I got. And on day two, it doesn't even mean anything unless you're on the ship where there is, I would really like to note, zero. There was zero DJs performing on the cruise at all. It just felt weird and it felt forced. It felt like we had to go to the beach club. So what did I do? I paid for my drinks and it was so expensive. It was so expensive. I ordered a Michelob Ultra and a Tito's Sprite. How much do you guys think that would cost me? $42. Oh! We did 3 rounds. Let's get away from the costs. Let's talk about the stage. Let's talk about the experience. The main stage was really cool. It had a lot of really good names perform. It was a really good lineup of artists. It was incredible. So outside of the costs and all that, like, I'm not trying to complain about everything because at the end of the day, I spent that money to stay at the beach club because the experience was really cool. The main stage was on the beach. Everyone, again, was giving everyone space. I could go grab a drink and go right back. I'm talking 10, 15 feet from barricade close. Like, it was incredible. It sucks that I have to talk about the negative, but I think it's important because yes, it was an incredible night. But the cost was definitely something that blinded me a little bit at times. So that was the second day. It was very uneventful 90% of the day. And then at night, it was a really cool experience with a really cool setup and a very expensive bar. Day 3, again, relatively uneventful during the day. That's a big complaint I think I would say about this cruise was there was things to do during the day, but not a lot of DJ sets. If you look at the schedule here, the sets don't really start until 4. There were events. So Taylor and I went to some events. So I think this is where we can kind of talk about what happened during the day. Taylor and I said, screw it. Let's do some activities. So we went and checked out Rave Bingo.
We're waiting. We're not going until we get it. Come on. Come on. Let's see it. Energy, energy, energy. Let's go, let's go. Ray Bingo. Ray Bingo, let's go. Switch. Hop, 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 hop. It's Ray Bingo. My hands are full.
That was at 10 in the morning. That was a lot of fun. We didn't win. Taylor and I went to the Bacardi rum tasting that I spent $60 for us to go to. It was not that fun. We paid $60 to do, I kid you guys not, 4 shots of Bacardi. That was it. Oh! And as the sun started to go down, we noticed something different.
So there was a medical emergency. So we're back in Miami, and we're not supposed to get off the ship for 2 days.
Yeah, so there was a medical emergency on the ship, and that led to the ship having to go back to Miami for a couple hours. Letting you guys know, because I don't sound like a complete ass here, I hope the person that needed the medical attention is okay. I completely understand and I agree with the decision to go back to Miami. It just the sales tax came back. So because we had to go back to Miami, the party was still going on, and they started taxing on the drinks again, which it's not the end of the world. Really, it's not the end of the world that we got charged on the drinks again. If I got to pay 20 cents a drink to make sure someone has adequate medical attention, be my guest. Like, literally be my guest. It was just more like, oh, we weren't far from Miami this whole time? And the answer was no. At the end of the 4-day cruise, I took this photo. We did a laps around the ocean. So yes, that it makes sense that we could easily get into Miami. Day 3 was cool. And Taylor and I go from main stage to this pearl stage. We go back and forth. It's great. And that led us into the final day. I laid in bed a lot of the day because like it just was really getting to me. And then that came into the last day. We got off the ship. That was a really quick synopsis over 4 days of a cruise. I want to talk about the details, the cha-ching, the everything. Let's start off with talking about the first main category I really want to cover, and that was the experience itself. Overall, the artist selection of this cruise was phenomenal. I saw so many great DJs that I've seen before and some that I've been wanting to see for a very long time. And I also met a lot of DJs throughout the week. I was very surprised with the amount of DJs that I casually ran into in elevators and hallways and were more than willing to have a quick conversation. They were all super nice, and I got a photo with Crankdat. However, I think a major miss on the ship's part was only having sets on Bimini when we were at Bimini. Why? Regardless, the sets that did happen on the island were a lot of fun. The activities that happened on the ship were so much fun. Taylor and I got to eat cereal while watching, Boomerang cartoons one of the mornings. The Rave Bingo.
Rave Bingo!
They did a Smash Bros tournament with Slander. They had a lot of really fun activities that I couldn't get to all of them, but they were a lot of fun. Next, I want to talk about the substance, aka food and drinks. So Taylor and I did not go to any of the specialty restaurants. I spent $6,000 to be on this cruise. So we mostly, if not basically basically every meal was at the buffet. And the buffet, like I said, was all right. It got really old by the end of it. Like Taylor and I just had a conversation. Like we literally cannot have any of those things. Like I will not touch a burger or hot dog probably for like a good couple of weeks after that. Like it was a lot of burgers and hot dogs. The beverages, the alcohol that they had on the ship was really good. They had the top shelf liquor. They had the mid shelf liquor. They had everything you could ask for. But that leads to what I spent money on, and that was the beverage package, which was $500 per person over the span of 4 nights. Did I hit that number? Maybe. I probably got there, if not a little bit under the $500. So overall, the alcohol package was worth it. I will say the good thing that I got out of the alcohol package was that I got Starbucks for free. The food was numbingly mid. The alcohol was good, but it came at the cost of a lot of money. That leads me to my third major point, the cost. This is a very expensive trip. I could have gone to a nice beach resort probably for less. Like I said at the beginning of this video, I am paying for an elevated experience. And with an elevated experience comes an elevated cost. That's just the way it is. And did my expectations meet that cost? Yeah. But I can't lie to you guys. I can't lie. Call me Abraham Lincoln. I will not be going next year because of the prices. I spent $6,000 to go on this trip. I got $300 off because I paid the entire thing in full and they gave me a 5% discount. Woo! It is, for a lot of people, multiple months of rent. It is a savings amount in case of emergency for a lot of people. Like, it is not a sum of money you can just throw it away. Overall, I would give this experience 5 stars. Phenomenal. Thank you for joining me on this investigation, if you want to call it that. Give me a like. Give me a subscribe. I'll catch you on the next video. Catch me on stream at Harry Not Harry on Twitch. I'm live every Monday and Thursday at 7 p.m. We have a lot of fun over there. We'll talk about it more on the channel. I'll see you somewhere. Hope to see you here or on Twitch. Mwah.